Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Doya Karo More Tuma Vinare Dayalu Jagat Samsare Patita pavana hetu tava avatara Musama patita prabhu na paive ara Haha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripa Balokana Koro Ami Bodo Dukhi Doya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Bale Pai Caitanya Nitai Haha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Bhatta Juga Shri Jivaha Prabhu Lokhanatha Doya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamange Narottama Dasa Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Radha Govardhana Bhagwan Ki, Jai Shri Krishna Balaram Bhagwan Ki, Giriraj Maharaj Ki, Narsinghadev Bhagwan Ki, Jai Jai Shri Gauranitai Bhagwan Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Gaur Premanandi. So reading today from the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, Chapter 17, verses 302 to 304. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Adi Leela chapter 17 verse 304. Se Krishna se Gopi Parama Virodha. Oh, okay. All right, so let's recite 302, but actually we'll be talking on 304 mostly. Tihan Shama Vamsi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Ihan Gaura Kabhut Vija Kabhuta Sannyasi Tihan Shama Vamsi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Ihan Gaura Kabhi Dvija Kabhuta Sannyasi Kabhut Dvija Kabhuta Sannyasi Shama Vamsi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Ihan Gaura Kabhut Dvija Kabhuta Sannyasi Shama Vamsi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Ihan Gaura Kabhut Dvija Kabhuta Sannyasi. Ladies? Ihan Shama Vamsi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Ihan Gaura Kabhut Dvija Kabhuta Sannyasi Ihan Shama Vamsi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Ihan Gaura Kabhut Dvija Kabhuta Sannyasi Ihan in the Krishna Leela Shama blackish color Vamsi Mukha a flute in the mouth Gopa Vilasi an enjoyer as a cowherd boy. Ihan, now, Gaura, fair complexion. Kabhu, sometimes. Dvija Brahmana, Kabhu, sometimes. Ta, certainly. Sannyasi, in the renounced order of life. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Krishna Leela, the Lord's complexion is blackish. A flute in his mouth, he enjoys as a cowherd boy. Now the self-same person has appeared with a fair complexion, sometimes acting as a Brahmana and sometimes accepting the renounced order of life. Please repeat after me. In Krishna Leela, the Lord's complexion is blackish. A flute in his mouth, he enjoys as a cowherd boy. Now the self-same person has appeared with a fair complexion, sometimes acting as a Brahmana and sometimes accepting the renounced order of life. So I will read 303 and 304 and then I'll come back and we'll start discussing all the points in these three purports, the three verses. Only verse 304 has a purport. So you don't have to repeat this verse after me. Ata eva apne prabhu gopi bhavadhari vrajendra nandane kahe prananathakari. Therefore, the Lord himself, accepting the emotional ecstasy of the gopis, now addresses the son of Nanda Maharaj, O master of my life, O my dear husband. Se Krishna, se gopi parama virodha, achinta charitra prabhura ati sudhurbodha. He is Krishna, yet he has accepted the mood of the gopis. How is it so? It is the inconceivable character of the Lord, which is very difficult to understand. Purport. Krishna's accepting the part of the gopis is certainly contradictory according to any mundane calculations. But the Lord, by his inconceivable character, may act like the gopis and feel separation from Krishna, although he is Krishna himself. Such a contradiction can be reconciled only in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he has energy that is inconceivable, achinta, which can make possible that which is impossible to do. Agatan gatan pati yasi. Such contradictions are very difficult to understand unless a devotee strictly follows the Vaishnava philosophy under the direction of the Goswamis. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ends every chapter with this verse. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padeyara Asha Caitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Caitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. In a song sung by Narottam Das Thakur, it is stated, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhuja Bose Yugala Piriti. The conjugal love between Radha and Krishna, which is called Yugala Piriti, is not understandable by mundane scholars, artists or poets. It is simply to be understood by devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. Sometimes so-called artists and poets try to understand the love affairs of Radha and Krishna, and they publish cheap books of poetry and pictures on the subject. Unfortunately, however, they do not understand the transcendental affairs of Radha and Krishna, even to the smallest degree. They are simply meddling in a matter in which they are not fit even to enter. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So I'll be speaking on a few points from these verses today, 302 to 304. So the first thing to say in verse 302, which we recited today, is that Lord Caitanya is being told to us as being Krishna himself in this verse. And in several places in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna has been told to us that he is actually Lord Chaitanya in Kali Yuga. Many verses like this we have been told. So this verse today is saying that in Krishna Lila, Lord's complexion is blackish. Who are we talking about? Who's blackish? Krishna, Sham, yes. And he's got a flute in his mouth, and he is in the form of a gopa, a cowherd boy. Now, contrast, this is being contrasted, this avatar, not avatar actually, Krishna is original, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is being contrasted to the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, what's the difference between him and Krishna? So this verse is telling us. It's saying that Lord Chaitanya is golden complexion, whereas Krishna is blackish. It is saying that Lord Chaitanya, he didn't come as a cowherd boy, but he came in the mood of a gopi. And that he does not have a flute. Lord Chaitanya does not carry a flute. And also that Lord Chaitanya, like Krishna was a cowherd boy, and he had many gopi girlfriends, and then eventually he had many wives in Dwarka. Lord Chaitanya, however, he was a brahmana, a scholar, and afterwards he got married, and then he became a sannyasi. So this is very, very briefly a few differences between Lord Chaitanya and However, they are both the same person. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from Krishna come all the other incarnations. Thank you so much. So, in fact, it is said that Lord Chaitanya is also original. That Lord Chaitanya, even though he did not expand as the Chaturvuha and have all the whole of creation come through him, but also that he has got in Goloka Vrindavan, that he also has his planet. That he also that he is also that we also can go back to be in Krishna pastimes or in Chaitanya pastimes in the spiritual world. So verse 303 is saying that, therefore the Lord himself, this is Lord Chaitanya, accepts the emotional ecstasy of the gopis, that is the mood of the gopis. And now he addresses Krishna as Nand Maharaj, Krishna the son of Nand Maharaj, as, O master of my life, O my dear husband. So Lord Chaitanya, although he is Krishna himself, and this is going to be further discussed in the next verse, so although he is Krishna himself, he is in the mood of the gopis. So this is what is being described as being difficult to understand, and it can be, unless we follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So this verse 303, the point being highlighted is that Lord Chaitanya, and there he is on the altar for those who may not know, that is Lord Nityananda and that is Lord Chaitanya. So, Lord Chaitanya, he is in the mood of the gopis, specifically the mood of Radharani. He has a male body and he is golden in color, but internally he is Radharani. He is always in the mood of Radharani. And what this mood is, I'm going to be talking about in this discussion on verse 304. So, this verse is saying that he is Krishna, but he has accepted the mood of the gopis. And how is that possible? And then the answer is that it's inconceivable, that it is very difficult to understand. But if we follow, and this is very important, that if we follow in the school of thought that our predecessors, the 6 Goswamis, have put out for us, we cannot go wrong, that we will actually have the philosophy, have all the reasons there, but it is then up to us as to how much we can understand. So, Krishna accepts the part of the gopis, he accepts the mood of the gopis, and he acts like the gopis, especially when he was in Jagannath Puri as a sannyasi. He was always feeling lots of separation, and I won't go into the descriptions of how Lord Chaitanya was behaving then, but he was feeling intense separation from Krishna as in the mood of Radharani. And when he would go in front of Lord Jagannath as a sannyasi, it said there would be eye-to-eye connection, because here is Lord Chaitanya and he is feeling like Radharani, he's feeling great separation from Krishna, and there is Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna himself, and he is feeling great separation from Radharani. So it is said in Jagannath Puri, there is eye-to-eye connection there is union between Lord Chaitanya, between Radha and Krishna in one. It's a very sort of high understanding, because it's not. What do you think? Do you think it'll work? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so right, okay, so it is said that even though it is very contradictory that Lord Chaitanya, seemingly in a male body, is in the mood of the gopis, that because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it can be possible, whatever is impossible can be made possible. And that these kind of so-called contradictions are difficult to understand unless one is following the Vaishnava philosophy under the direction of the Goswamis. So at the end of every chapter in the Caitanya Caritamrita, the author, Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, he ends with this verse always. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Caitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, he is always seeking their mercy. And he is saying that I'm reciting this Caitanya Charitamrita, I'm following in their footsteps. This is what he's always saying. So, I'll just talk a few points before we start talking about Yugula Piriti. So the question can come, why does Lord Chaitanya actually take the mood of the gopis? And there are several answers to this. Because he is Krishna. And why does he want to become Radharani? Why does he want to, for all intents and purposes, he is Radharani. Externally, he is Krishna. He's got the golden color of Radharani, though, and he's got the mood of Radharani. So it is said that he stole the mood of Radharani. He stole the golden color of Radharani. And this is why Gadadhar Pandit, who is actually a manifestation of Radharani in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, if we read into his character, he always comes across as somebody who has been robbed. Because he is Radharani, and his golden color and his mood has been stolen by Krishna. So he's always kind of in a low mood, you could say. So this is why there are deities of Gaur Gadadhar. And this is like, the Caitanya tree. So there are different branches of the Caitanya tree. And Gadadhar Pandit has a branch. And it has been described earlier in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And under his branch, all his followers, their mood and how they follow, all of this has been explained. So I won't go into the mood of Gaur Gadadhar, but I just wanted to say that Lord Chaitanya, it is described that he has stolen Radharani's mood, Radharani's complexion as well. So why has he done this? Now the first thing to understand is, what is the mood of the gopis? And I'll get into that a little later. So, first of all, we know that Lord Chaitanya came to lead by example. He is the Yuga avatar. He has come to spread the holy name around. And he has done what no other incarnation has done before, which is distribute conjugal love. Introduce us to the mellows of conjugal relationships. No other incarnation has done this. This is why he's called Mahavedanyaya, the most munificent, the most merciful. So, no other incarnation of Krishna out of his many, many, many incarnations has done this. And we know that we can have 5 different kinds of relationship with Krishna, 4 in particular that are the active rasas: parenthood, servitude, friendship, and conjugal love. And so Lord Chaitanya, he has come to show us what this conjugal love mellow looks like. And it is very personal, it is very intimate. And this is something that if we don't understand in the right mood, our spiritual lives can crash and burn. And therefore, the way to understand it is by following in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. And it is important that we understand it right. So, Lord Chaitanya is Radha, feeling separation from Krishna, although he is Krishna himself. The mood of separation is what the mood of the gopis is. This mood of intense separation. They are in the mood that Krishna has left Vrindavan, and they are intensely feeling separation from him, and they are always looking for him. They are seeing him in Vrindavan, in every tree, in every animal, in every person. They are seeing Krishna in Vrindavan. This is out of intense separation. So, this is the mood, separation. And then, this is what Lord Chaitanya is feeling. He is feeling separation from Krishna. So, the reason Lord Chaitanya has done this is a few reasons. One of them, the most important one, is his own personal reasons. And these are the internal reasons of his incarnation as Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya came as Lord Chaitanya particularly, so there are external reasons and there are internal reasons. His personal internal reasons are that he wanted to take the position of Radharani. He wanted to actually relish this position, to be in the position of Radharani, firstly, to actually see himself through her eyes. So this is first. Secondly, he wanted to experience the bliss enjoyed by Radharani. And then he wanted to relish her position, to enjoy this, to experience the bliss and enjoy, to relish the position of Radha, and to see himself through her eyes. These were very close reasons, but these were his 3 internal reasons for coming as Lord Chaitanya. Externally, the reasons were the same as any other avatar, which is to re-establish the principles of religion and to destroy the miscreants, to annihilate the miscreants, and to establish the Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga, Harinam Sankirtan. So one time, Lord Chaitanya was experiencing this mood of separation, and as Radharani, he was experiencing this mood of separation, and he was actually, saying Gopi, 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 like that. And then some of his students became offensive. And this was the incident, as we've just read actually, this was the incident that prompted Lord Chaitanya to seriously consider taking sannyas, which he then did, because a sannyasi, it was just a social status, to some extent, in terms of respect, that as a sannyasi he would automatically be respected, and he would be taken seriously. So this was one of the reasons he took sannyas. The main reason was, of course, to fulfill his mission and spread in every town and village the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it is described that only those in the mood of the gopis can engage in service of Radha and Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya, he came to teach us by his personal example how to chant, how to perform Harinam Sankirtan, and also how to be in the mood of the gopis. So he has come to teach us personally, he has come as a devotee to teach us. So Lord Chaitanya's mood, like it's described that he would be going around and asking every tree and every creeper, where is Krishna? Have you seen him? Just like the gopis of Vrindavan would be doing. So this is some of the ways that Lord Chaitanya, and some of the reasons that Lord Chaitanya has taken this mood. So if we didn't know, as practitioners following Lord Chaitanya, we also need to be in the mood of the gopis. It is described that if we don't have this mood of the gopis, if we are not getting into this mood naturally, not artificially, that we will not be able to serve Radha and Krishna. So it's not the dress. It's important to emphasize this, that it's not dressing up as a gopi, but it's actually accepting the internal emotional mood of a gopi. And how we do this is by meditating on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the transcendental world, and by following in the mood of Radharani's friends and associates. In this way, we achieve perfection and we can go to Goloka Vrindavan. So it is further described that this mood of the gopis is actually called the emotional pursuit of achieving our Siddha Deha. That it is the mood of the gopis, there's this intense separation feeling from Krishna, and not only that, not just the separation feeling, but everything else which I'll get into, but that goes along with the mood of the gopis, which is, one of the things is just selflessly loving Krishna and not seeking any personal sense gratification. So the difference between love and lust, that is one of the main characteristics of gopis' love, unalloyed love, that this mood, if we cultivate this mood, that this is what will lead us to ultimate perfection, ultimately achieving our Siddha Sarupa, which means our eternal, constitutional, spiritual body in Goloka Vrindavan. So with our spiritual masters, Nityananda Balaram and ultimately Radharani, this is the mood that we are being taught. These are the intense emotional bhava, the emotional ecstasies that we need to start understanding and experiencing, which if we're not, that's where we need to be getting. So by actually beginning to experience these spiritual ecstasies, which are, along the spiritual path, along the Bhakti Kripa, which fructifies in love of Godhead, bhava is high up, pretty high up. So we can get there by, how do we get there? It's an easy answer. We get there basically by doing what we've promised to do, which is following the four regulative principles, and by chanting. So by following the rules and regulations set out for us by our predecessors, by our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, by the 6 Goswamis, chanting our rounds every day, chanting as purely as we can, avoiding the 10 offenses, following all the other rules and regulations as much as we can, as much as possible, we basically go higher and higher and higher on this Bhakti Kripa until we reach Bhava, Ruchi, Prema. So there's no really sort of other quick way unless we receive mercy, unless Lord Chaitanya touches us like he touched Narayani, or eat the remnant of Lord Chaitanya's prasadam, or if the Lord wants to give us mercy, he can give us mercy in any way. But to achieve this mood as spiritual practitioners, we are told to just follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis and to chant. So this, okay. So the mood of the gopis is the highest mood that one can achieve in spiritual life, and this is unalloyed. So no tinge of material desire there, just fully the mood to serve Krishna. So love and lust, the difference is that love is you just want to keep the other person happy, to just serve them without any desire to serve yourself, without any aim to achieve anything in return, and this is the mood the gopis had. Whereas lust is that you're serving the other person, but the desire is your own sense gratification. So the difference is like the difference between iron and gold. And the gopis' love is described as just unalloyed, no tinge. So there are quite a few examples in the scriptures, like, when Narad Muni, when Krishna had a headache, so-called headache, and Narad Muni went out all over creation trying to find somebody who would help Krishna with his headache. And he found that everybody was scared of giving their foot dust to Krishna. That was the supposed only cure. That if somebody gives their foot dust and then Krishna puts it on his headache will be cured. So this was the way in which it was revealed that the gopis, they have no sense of self-preservation. They don't care about themselves. They ran out, they destroyed all their relationships with their husbands, their children, their parents. They went out and they were never accepted back into society. So they just want to serve Krishna, and they were just happy to give their foot dust to Krishna. Just take it immediately, Narad Muni. Go and put it on Krishna's head. Oh no, why is he suffering? And also when Uddhava came from Dwarka to solace the gopis, Krishna sent Uddhava and said to him, please go and tell the gopis that, I will return, and, this is what I'm doing, and all of those things, and just try to solace them. And when Uddhava went, he was a wonderful, great, big scholar who knew everything. He was like very, very learned. But when he went, he ended up being taught a lesson. And he was very humbled by this. The lesson he was taught was that it's actually just love of Krishna, and how the gopis love Krishna, and that they just don't care about all the philosophy and all the other things. They just love Krishna because they don't see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just see him as their lover. So Uddhava learned this lesson, and so he was able to understand that this is the mood of the gopis. So separation, if we are wondering whether it's union or separation which is the highest pleasure, what's the answer? Separation. And it is said that in spiritual separation there is actually union. Because when we are in the mood of separation spiritually, we are constantly meditating on the object. So we are constantly meditating on Radha and Krishna. And in this there is union. So the gopi mood is what we actually just recited also. This prayer, Shri Shri Shishtashtika by Lord Chaitanya, he wrote this prayer And the last verse of this is that Ashlishya vapatratam pinashtu mama darshnan marmahatam koroto va yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato matprananathastu saeva napraha. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord. This is the mood of the gopis. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so. Even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. So they love Krishna unconditionally, and they are ready that no matter how roughly he treats me, I'm just going to be, he's always my Lord. I'm always going. So they are in that mood. Now, we cannot actually, we cannot use that as a material example. It will be dangerous to use that as a material example. So we are talking here about spiritual ecstasies and the mood of the gopis and how they feel. So we are told not to artificially imitate this mood, but to build up to this mood by just serving sincerely. By serving sincerely, and automatically, just like a river flows to the sea, these spiritual emotions will manifest within us. It's not artificial. It will definitely manifest if we are following the process. For some people, it's very quick. For some people, it takes a while. Like there was one devotee who was telling me that I was on Sankirtan, chanting and dancing in the streets, and we were dancing in a circle, all of us. And while we were dancing, I was thinking, wow, this is really amazing. This is like the gopis dancing for Krishna. This is what they were dancing like. They were chanting Krishna's names and they were all dancing. So, that devotee was able to understand, like quickly experience, not even philosophically understand everything, but just experience those emotions that, this is like chanting for Krishna. And okay, now this brings me then to the second part of this purport, which is that this conjugal love between Radha and Krishna, Yugala Piriti, is not understandable by mundane scholars, and that it just needs to be understood it is simply understood by devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis, and that sometimes people try to poets and artists, they try to put forward things which Srila Prabhupada says in this purport that they do not understand, unfortunately, the transcendental affairs of Radha and Krishna, even to the smallest degree, and they are simply meddling in a matter in which they are not even fit to enter. So, with this, I want to say that a devotee who was quite new on the spiritual path, when he did his japa, he would be actually flicking through his iPad and looking at pictures of Radha and Krishna while he was chanting japa. Just looking at pictures, not reading. Actually, we are encouraged to look at pictures so that we can meditate on those pastimes if we need to in the beginning of our japa. As we go more and more experienced, we just concentrate on the holy sound, always. But to help us stay focused on Krishna and the holy name, visual aids, chanting in front of the deities is very powerful. Chanting next to Tulsi Maharani, looking at pictures while we are chanting. So, but ultimately just concentrating on the sound vibration. So anyway, this devotee was quite new, and he was looking at pictures, and he found a picture which he then showed to me, and he said, I found this very disturbing. And unfortunately, it was a disturbing picture. And it wasn't in our parampara line. It was just like what is being described here, that, mundane artists, they try to portray Radha and Krishna in different ways. And so we need to be really careful. We really need to be careful as to what we choose to follow, what we choose to associate with. The other thing that I've come across is, a couple might say, oh, he's my she is my Radha and I am her Krishna. Like when they're talking to like about each other, that oh, he is my Krishna and I am his Radha, like that. But actually, the mood of Radha and Krishna is completely spiritual, is completely transcendental. It is not a mundane relationship at all, and that is the whole difference between gold and iron, between love and lust, between sense gratification and just serving Krishna with pure love. So we cannot actually compare material and spiritual relationships in this way, but people who are afflicted with lust, who are attached to lusty sense gratification, they are advised to actually hear from the right source, to hear from a person who is not lusty, and actually a follower, a devotee following properly, to hear from them the conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna so that their lusty disease might be cured. This is the cure for lustiness, hearing the conjugal pastimes from a pure devotee of Radha and Krishna. So, this is about the 6 Goswamis now and why we should take shelter of the Goswamis. This is from the Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 27, verse 24. This is about the 6 Goswamis. Thus they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. So, newsflash, just in case we didn't know this, we are all following in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis, and especially Rupa Goswami, we are all Rupa Nugas. And here it says very, very clearly that the Goswamis are in the mood of the gopis. So the 6 Goswamis were always absorbed in transcendental emotions in the mood of the gopis. They were living in Vraj and always searching for Krishna. Where are you, Krishna? Where are you, gopis? Where are you, Radha? They were always trying to search for Krishna. And they were searching for Krishna not just physically, but actually internally and emotionally. That is the more important thing. They weren't trying, and we advise, don't just go to Vrindavan and try to see Krishna behind a bush. Instead, you focus on the holy names, listen to Krishna Katha, and that's where you'll find Radha and Krishna. So they never said that we have actually seen Radha and Krishna, although they had, many times they had seen Radha and Krishna. So in this book, The Light of the Bhagavata, verse 42, it says that without love of Godhead, there is no meaning to even direct contact. So what this means is, even if we see Krishna or Radharani face to face, we will not be able to understand the significance if we don't have love. And that there were many people that when Krishna was present, they met him in person, but they did not love him, so they did not know who he was. And to activate this love, which we all have in our hearts, we actually have this already, this Krishna prema, but to activate it, to revive it, that is the purpose of this life. This is why we have this life. This is why we have all these minutes and hours. It is actually not to waste, not to fritter away in sense gratification, but to use, to develop our relationship. Just like when we, get married, want to get married, or we start dating, we spend time with the other person. We try to get to know them. So in the same way, we are meant to get to know Radha and Krishna, to spend time with them, to spend time with the holy names, to read, to understand their mood, and to develop this. And this is our internal lives, because the material world is cold and hard and cruel, and it's getting worse and worse. So not just that reason, but this is the purpose of our human form of life. To activate this love, we need to follow in the footsteps of authorized authorities who are actually fixed in love of Godhead. That is the 6 Goswamis. The gopis provide the highest example of such unalloyed love of Godhead, and Lord Caitanya, at ultimate stage of realization, he displays viraha, separation, in the mood of the gopis. We develop this love of Godhead by following rules and regulations, especially the holy, especially the holy name in Kali Yuga. We go through all the stages of clearing, purification, and then we start experiencing attachment and taste, and then emotions, and then love. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that, my dear readers, simply try to hear this description with faith and love. That will help you understand transcendental ecstasy, and at last it will achieve love of Godhead very easily. So just by hearing these examples, descriptions, hearing and reading about the mood of the gopis with love and faith, this is the advice given to us by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, that we will ultimately develop love of Godhead easily if we just try to hear with love and faith. So we are Rupanugas, and also Lord Chaitanya, he never talked openly about the conjugal, even though he came, and he is the only incarnation who came to open this doorway into conjugal love, that, hey, this is what Radha and Krishna are feeling. These are the emotions. You all need to experience these emotions. And, even though it is the most intimate thing, it is being distributed freely everywhere. So that is such a contradiction. And simply by engaging in hearing and chanting, we can experience the same conjugal loving emotions. So this is such a contradiction. Just like the contradiction of he's Lord Chaitanya, it's a he, but he is feeling completely like Radharani. So there's so many contradictions, but on the spiritual platform, they are all completely resolved and understood philosophically. So the important things are that we need to understand through the mercy of Rupa Raghunath, through the mercy of the 6 Goswamis, and follow in their mood. Because by following in other moods, we can become sahajiyas, mundane, materialists, all of these things. So we are very fortunate that we have the right method, the right path clearly put out before us. All we have to do is read, hear, chant, follow the principles, chant and chant and chant more, and then everything clears up slowly, if our chanting is offenseless and we are avoiding the offenses, and then we develop love of Godhead, we develop this mood of the gopis. That's the path that is put before us. Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, anything? Yes, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, thank you. I have a question regarding the mood of the gopis. You explained the pastime with the Narada Muni asking for them to give the dust of their feet from their feet to cure Krishna's headache. The other day we had a discussion about the need of having spiritual masters in ISKCON. There was a sannyasi in Europe who made a calculation that if we take all the different people that are actually practicing Krishna consciousness, and they should be distributed to each, and the present spiritual masters, each of them would have around 80,000 disciples. So there's a big need, and several devotees, senior devotees, are being approached by the authorities, and they've been asked to take this service. And we were discussing the other day about that our initial thought was like, well, if you immediately accept and say, yes, I can, then actually this is a disqualification. Then actually your initial response should be, no, I'm not qualified. But if we take in consideration the mood of the gopis, the answer should be, yes, of course, even though it's a very dangerous and exposed position as a spiritual master. So I would like to hear your take on, I know it was a little complicated and a long question, but I hope you get the idea of it.
Yes, I think I do, Prabhu. Thank you for the question. I'll try to answer. So the question is that if one is approached to be a guru, then, you know, the knee-jerk response should be, no, I'm not qualified, but looking at the mood of the gopis, it should be like, yes. So the answer, I guess, is that where is the intention, what's the internal intention, and it should be all about service. And so if the mood is that I'm doing this as service, and I'm not qualified, but I'm going to try my best to serve as purely as I can, to be a transparent via medium, to just be a portal, then I'm going to try to serve. This is the mood. And I guess, I mean, I know a little bit about the technical process that, you know, there has to be, I think you have to put your name forward, or people have to recommend you, and then there's a big long wait usually, and then I think there's, I don't know, interviews or testing period or something like that. But there are checks and balances, and there is a process. So all of that is there, but the most important thing is the internal mood. And we see today that there have been spiritual masters in the movement who have given their disciples sannyas to help them cultivate more not cultivate more disciples for themselves, but that this disciple who's taken sannyas, their mood is that I'm going to help my spiritual master to maintain this growing group of disciples. So it's all in the mood of service. And then what the mood is, that trying to bring all these souls to spiritual life, to connect them in this active devotional service, and to get them to experience these things internally. That's the ultimate intention. Externally, to judge that is difficult, but internally, when somebody is approached, even if somebody doesn't verbalize that, you know, doesn't say that I'm not qualified, but if they internally feel that way, I mean, we wouldn't know. But ultimately, we are all, according to Lord Caitanya, we are all meant to become gurus. We are all meant to Yare Dekha Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. Everywhere we go, we are supposed to talk about Krishna, try to encourage people to join up, even if we are not being given the title of Guru. And we may never, you know, be officially given a title in the movement, which doesn't really matter. What matters is how much are we serving and how much are we trying to connect people back. So all of us need to try to do this, and we have to be careful when we are preaching that we are only giving what the person is able to receive without becoming offenders. So preaching needs to be done, and in this mood, Lord Chaitanya's mood is like, it's huge, like we just need to do it, take the fruit of the tree and distribute it. So we all meant to do this, and he's saying to us that you are all part of the living Caitanya Caritamrita, and you are all part of it, so just distribute. Love of Godhead. I hope that's a little bit. Okay. Anything else, anybody? No. Thank you very, very much for your association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Nitai ki jai, Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai.